big matchup this week for the Cleveland Browns and a big test for some areas of this team. So to talk about this matchup with the Dallas Cowboys, who else to bring on than the number one Dallas Cowboy man on YouTube, Voch Lombardi. So we're going to talk football. We're going to talk the Cowboys right after this. Real quick before this video starts, I want to make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload. We're going to have a lot of content coming up for the upcoming NFL season. So if you don't want to miss anything, hit that subscribe button, lock it down right here so you don't miss a single thing. So as I said, the Dallas Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns are heading up to match up in an inter-conference game. And I think there's going to be a test of a couple units on both sides of the ball. And again, to talk about that, the number one Dallas Cowboy, man. I thought I'd bring him in whenever this draft talk because he's also the number one draft analyst on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, Voch Lombardi. Voch, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, those are very kind words. I appreciate you. But my second time on the channel, thanks for having me back. Let's boogie, man. Let's talk about it.
All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is just what are your kind of general thoughts when it comes to this matchup with the Browns?
Okay, so let's just be clear here because I got a lot of love over on Browns Reddit, some Browns people on Twitter. I think I relate more to Browns fans than Cowboy fans because Cowboy fans are terrible. So just take everything I'm saying as analysis, and I'm not shooting shots at y'all just because we playing against y'all this week. We should beat you. I think that's fair. We should beat you. But y'all talented enough, but that's been the case all year, though. Y'all talented enough to be scary and pull something off. If the Cowboys show up and do what they're supposed to do, it's supposed to be a W. But I think y'all good enough to upset some people. You're good enough to pull it off. But that's just coach speak. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to underestimate anybody, especially when y'all talented. You see what I mean? So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but, you know, Cowboy W is what it's looking like.
All right, so speaking of that, you mentioned some of the talent on this team. Are there any matchups in this upcoming game that kind of concern you from Cowboy standpoint?
So I think the Cowboys defense is relatively good versus the run, but, you know, Nick Chubb is a gangster. Kareem Hunt is also a gangster. So we're going to have to, like buckle up and deal with those guys. But here's the deal, though. Like, we're weak in pass defense. But I don't know if Baker likes Odell Beckham, right? And you can kind of help me out with this, but it seems like Beckham gets the ball when it's drawn up for Beckham to get the ball. It's not like if Baker has a decision, he'll just get the ball to Odell Beckham. So, just me kind of watching film on, I'm like, hey, maybe he doesn't like that guy, and that'll work out well for the Cowboys. But the formula should be easy. My thing with Baker is, I think sometimes the Browns as a play calling entity kind of gets caught up in this ego battle where, hey, we got Baker Mayfield. He's going to be a quarterback. He's going to do this and make these throws, and we're going to be good. But that's not how you win with Baker, or at least at this point in his career. How you win with Baker is you hand the ball to your first stud running back, you hand the ball to your second stud running back, and get your stud wide receiver involved. That's how you win. And when you do it, you look fantastic. But when you see Baker, we're going to make some big boy throws with Baker Mayfield, it looks a little weird, get him on the move, do that play action, those bootlegs, backside, things like that. You can run on offense. You can make things happen. You can boogie a little bit. Nick Chubb can get it done by himself if you put it on his shoulders. It's just that will you put it on his shoulders in terms, of like matchups go on that side of the ball. Odell Beckham can beat any receiver Odell Beckham could be any DB on our team. Just that will y'all go that direction? And as far as the inverse on the other side, Myles Garrett scares the hell out of me, man. And it's been that way for a long time. But, like I said earlier, the Browns are super, super talented. We just got to see it all mold together. So the Cowboys having problems on the offensive line right now. Big problems on offensive line. Like, our first two tackles are hurt. Then our third tackle is whack, and he got sick. So we got a fourth tackle at left, which is Brandon Knight, who's better than our third guy. Don't ask. They don't let me coach. But so we had a DEFCON 5 terror threat level orange situation last week where we had to put Zach Martin at right tackle. And for some reason, all of the non-head coach, all the league personnel people was like, hey, man, Zach Martin to be nice at tackle. But now we put Zach Martin at tackle, and Zach Martin looks fantastic at tackle. All the fans have been saying this. All the YouTube analysts have been saying this. So why does it take so long for an actual NFL coach to make that move and put Zach Martin at right tackle? Here's my theory. Zach Martin's the best guard in the league, could be, or one of the best, top three, whatever you want to say. Whatever, cool. We playing Myles Garrett this week. If you want to put Zach Martin at guard for the rest of the year, do your thing, player. I need that dude playing right tackle versus Myles Garrett. And if y'all want to be slick and move him to the other side, then hopefully Tyron Smith will be back. If not, I don't want that dude playing up against Terrence Steele, a terrible, not ready, undrafted free agent from Texas Tech that I have no good feelings about right now.
Yeah, I saw the injury report. You have La'el Collins on injured reserve right now for a little while. Cam Irving is your swing tackle. Well, I don't know what Cam Irving does anymore. When he was in Cleveland, he was terrible. All I remember from Cam Irving is being terrible. And then Tyron Smith is hurt. Is he looking like he's going to return this week? Like, what's it look like for him?
Well, see, Tyron had a stinger, and stingers are weird. I mean, you just kind of got to go based on feel. So he's been out for 2 weeks, and he was doing light practice. And last week he actually warmed up, and he was padded up and everything. But I think they were just kind of being safe with him. And to be fair, the big threat from Seattle's pass rush was Benson Mayowa. So it would kind of make sense. Okay, cool. If we can live and play through Benson Mayowa 1 week just to get the Myles Garrett next week, then let's rest Tyron and make sure he's good for the Browns. I think Tyron sat last week in order to be able to fly this week. So Tyron should be playing, I hope.
That's interesting. I also noticed something with this Dallas team, not a lot of people talk about it, is their tight ends. Their tight ends can really pass block. They're not known for being like receivers by any means. And I think that's why people kind of labeled this as a weakness for the Cowboys at the beginning of the season, because these aren't great receivers. But they're really good in blocking situations. All three of them are good blockers. But Blake Bell and Blake Jarwin have been really good pass blockers. Have they been able to help out when it comes to kind of that shuffling around because of not having any tackles essentially on the roster at this point?
In terms of like top tier tight ends in the league, I mean, maybe 7 of them anyway, 7 or 8 of them. So like everybody else just kind of got to piece guys together and just use auxiliary skill sets. So Blake Jarwin was our receiving guy, but he got hurt, tore his ACL, a non-contact situation. So bad for him. But Dalton Schultz, in that same mode or whatever, it don't take much to be better than Jason Witten. Like Jason Witten's gone to Oakland. He's not in Oakland anymore. He's in Vegas now. So Jason Witten would catch the ball at 3 yards and either fall down or run backwards with whoever the hell can't tackle him. You see what I mean? So if you're a tight end in Dallas, all you got to do is catch the ball and move forward 3 steps. You're already better than Jason Witten. So Dalton Schultz as a receiver is better. But what I didn't know, I kind of knew this, right? But coming out of Stanford, he was a blocking tight end. And when you think blocking tight ends, you're all right, cool, you can block some safeties. I'll put you on some linebackers. But what I noticed watching film last week, you alluded to it, y'all can watch the video, he blocking defensive ends. Like he just out there just blocking defensive ends. Blake Bell, former quarterback at Oklahoma. They called him Belldozer before Baker Mayfield took his job, I believe. Blake Bell, tight end now, blocking defensive ends. So what I saw is, yeah, they had Zach Martin at tackle sometimes, but then they'll put a tight end on his side and bump everything down one time, bump down the blocks down one time. So it was kind of like we just had 2 guards in there, 2 guards and a tight end playing tackle, which was weird. But if you got tight ends that can block defensive ends, damn it, use them. You know what I mean? So I mean, they're not going to rip you up too much vertically in the passing game. You don't have to worry about that. I mean, Dalton Schultz will make his catches. He'll get his first downs. He's, serviceable down the seam or whatever, but he really makes his money blocking people, and he's really, really good at it. Him and Blake Bell.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And also, it's kind of a 2-part question. With all that moving around on the offensive line, one, has that affected this offensive line's ability to run block for Zeke? And also, do you think going against the Browns, who have been one of the better run defenses in the NFL, at least with that defensive line and that front 7, do you think that's going to become a factor if Zeke can't get off and, kind of relieve some of the pressure off Dak while running the ball?
I think for the most part, we're a team of good run blocking linemen, though. We just suck going backwards. And not even all of us suck, right? It's just that the handful of guys that suck going backwards really suck going backwards. Terrence Steele is a solid run blocker. I mean, because he's a big old boy, a big old dude with long arms. He's a solid, run blocker. But you can be physical and be a good run blocker, but you need technique to be a great pass blocker. And when you're young, you just ain't got technique. You just don't have years of that in you already. So if anything, I think we'll be fine running the ball. But if anything, we might be a little better running the ball now because Joe Looney is our first center. But with our DEFCON 5 situation, we had to move some guys around. So Tyler Biadasz, the rookie center from Wisconsin, he's a more bigger, stout guy. Joe Looney's more smaller, movement-based guy. I can get to second level, but I'm not that strong. So if it's a situation where, both of your guards are movement dudes that can get to the second level better, Zach Martin's a gangster. He's going to block anybody that's in front of him. And we do have Tyron Smith at left tackle. I think we have an offensive line that's probably built to run the ball better than we have all year because our line has been hurt all year. Leo Collins showed up out of shape, and now his hip hurts because he was out of shape. Don't ask me to explain it. But I mean, whenever he gets back, he'll get back. But this is probably, it's crazy to say it, Quincy, I'm sorry, but the fifth offensive line experiment that we've put together, the fifth set of guys that we've seen may be the best set of guys that we have moving forward. It doesn't make sense, but it just kind of is what it is, just based on configuration, and it has a lot to do with bringing the rookie center off the bench. That's probably more powerful on the inside. That's probably going to make everything else just even out a little bit.
But yeah, that makes sense. It's one of those things that doesn't make sense when you look at football on paper. If you're just somebody who kind of just looks at PFF grades and just goes, that's my research. But when you look at it in football, it just offensive line play tends to just be get the right combination of guys who have good enough chemistry, and they can put together some decent offensive lines. And if you have good tight ends, that helps out tremendously. I mean, you look at a place like Cincinnati, they're already starting Fred the Sled Johnson and then Bobby Hart out there, and then they have no tight ends on top of it, and it's just a mess for Joe Burrow. And even the Browns in 2018, they had good tight ends. They had the same offensive line in 2019, and then it was a complete mess because they changed around one or two parts, didn't have the tight ends, and then, it was what it was in 2019, which was one of the worst offensive lines in football. But
I think for the most part, I just don't think that fans of the NFL really understand how bad offensive line is across the board. I told you when we were doing draft, I was like, man, look, it's going to suck. And you're probably going to want one of those top tier draft dudes down there. Like you're probably going to want a Ken Law on your team because he's flash, or like one of those receivers. But when you draft offensive line and it works, you don't have to worry about that spot anymore. Like just get the dude, put him in there, and leave him there for 15, however long they end up playing or whatever. What teams don't realize, or what fans don't realize, is that bad offensive linemen are average, and average offensive linemen are good because D linemen have evolved faster than offensive linemen. If you think about offensive linemen and how they grow, the college game is so much catch and throw, zone stuff, bubble stuff, outside stuff. You don't really maintain a block for the first time until you get to the National Football League. You imagine the first 5-second block you ever have to engage in is against Myles Garrett at practice or something. You see what I mean? So, but when you look at draft, there's always a top tier defensive end coming out. There's always a top tier guard, tackle coming out. But every 3 or so years, there's one offensive tackle at the top. Like, okay, cool. Somebody got to take him. Somebody's got to take him. I think that's where Dallas is fortunate because Tyron Smith, who's just he's like 30 now. He's been playing football for like 12 years or something for us. We haven't had to address left tackle for 12 years. But we got a left guard in Connor Williams, who's top half of the league, I would say. Like if it's 62 guards or whatever, he's in the 30 somewhere. But he gets whooped by Aaron Donald and Grady Jarrett and Jaron Reed, who are good defensive tackles. But Cowboy fans are like, yo, that dude sucked because he's getting beat. We got to get him up out of here. Yes, he's getting beat, but Xavier Su'a-Filo is starting in Cincinnati. You know what I mean? Like, offensive line as a whole is bad. So when you get average offensive linemen, in real life, those dudes are good. I didn't mean to get on that tangent, but damn, I just –
oh, no, man. You gotta do it. All right, so the last thing I got to ask for this part is if you were the defensive coordinator, how would you specifically try to attack this Browns offense?
Make Baker Mayfield throw the football. If it's my opinion, just my personal opinion, we're not good enough as a Cowboys, backfield to just cover your wide receiver straight up anyway. So if we can't cover y'all, then why not just cover y'all? Like there's no need to put safety help up there because we're not gonna cover you with or without safeties. So just cover zero this thing up, put some pressure on Baker, stack the box the best you can, and make him throw the football and hope that your pass rush, comes to play. Even when Chubb goes off the field and Kareem Hunt comes back because he's good too. Your backup running back is damn good too. Same process for him. There's going to be some bootlegs. So when you see that fake run motion, you need to be on them tight ends immediately. You need to play down on those guys. But the Cowboys got some pretty good practice in that because the Rams did it against us. And Russell Wilson ate us alive with it. So if we watch any kind of film and learn any kind of lessons, bootlegs and waggles and all that should not be able to beat us. But yeah, let Baker Mayfield control this thing, and I feel good about my chances. Score a lot of points.
One question I have about that, though, is Jalen Smith has kind of been a little bit of a mess in pass coverage situations this year. Do you think the combination of trying to attack him with play action and then trying to hit your tight ends like Austin Hooper, you think that's going to be something that can be exploited by Baker Mayfield against his Dallas team?
The problem with Jalen Smith is that he gets in his own head and he wants to play hero ball like really, really bad. And you can talk him out of it. Because you could tell in the first half of a game, somebody tapped Jalen on the shoulder. Yeah, Jalen, don't forget, don't play hero ball today. And Jalen was like, all right, cool. But then, like in the middle of the third quarter or something, he'll start overshooting gaps again. He'll start thinking that he's Notre Dame Jalen again, pre-drop foot Jalen again. So yeah, y'all probably gonna be able to get some plays off of him, but I don't think his big plays are enough to beat you, if that makes sense. Like if you hit Jalen on a big play, I mean, let's just say like he gives up 3 big passing plays. I don't think that's enough. Y'all gonna have to get more vertical. Now y'all can beat up on the like our safeties or whatever. Y'all can beat up on them, but you just got to find your spots there. Trevin Diggs actually might be the best cornerback on this team, and him being a rookie, and that's kind of wild to say right now. So that is what that is.
Make sure you guys check out the first part with this interview with Voch. Make sure you subscribe to everything Voch Lombardi related and follow him on Twitter because I promise you he's going to be tweeting during the game. So check it out there.